Welcome to Planet 1390 Voyage. Today I have Mr. What is it, Sabalos? What Sabaros? Or is it Cabarros?
Casbarro.
Casbarro. Mr. Casbarro, the creator of Vitalerium, right? That's how I'm pronouncing it
There you go.
properly.
Hey, spot on.
Vitalerium. It is a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful book and series of comics. I met this man at Geek Culture Con in Orlando, Florida. His whole setup was beautiful. I was instantly taken by his blue and black color palette, and I wanted to go over there and talk to him and see where his mind was at and what that series was about. So I just want to start off by asking how you doing tonight.
I'm doing fantastic, man.
Awesome, awesome.
Having a drink. It's 8:30, so that's all right.
That's awesome, awesome. So I just want to get it started off with like have you explain what the Vitalarium series is to the audience because I was absolutely stunned by it. So, but I want to hear from the creator's words what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Vitalerium series follows humanity after we become multiplanetary. It's kind of a nice mix between sci-fi and space opera. You get a little
Awesome,
bit of both elements, but the story is primarily human focused.
awesome.
Very engaging. It's very relatable. Um, Discusses a lot of themes that you find are commonly in sci-fi and space opera as well. Um, the ramifications of overreaching power, the effects of advancing technology on society, um, and you get a little bit of political intrigue in there as well. But essentially, you're watching a story unfold as a certain character, the protagonist, basically becomes the most important person in future history.
Awesome.
So it's basically how do I put this? It's like it's like watching I guess the unfolding of a future mythological hero.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, growing up, what were your inspirations and like what's your background? How did you get to this point in your life?
It's kind of a roundabout answer, honestly. I certainly didn't start off writing. Um, I went to college to be a physical therapist, believe it or not. And I just realized while I was doing it, it just wasn't what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And so I ended up graduating early from that program. From there, I went into medical devices and worked for a number of different companies. And now I own my own medical distributorship. And while I was at my last company, I was doing a ton of travel. I was on a plane like 3 to 5 days a week. And so I got to a point where I basically beat Netflix. Um, I, I'm downloading
I get
episodes.
what you're saying.
You know,
I get what you're saying.
you've been
You're
there
traveling
before.
so much that you're watching every episode on whatever show you're just completing Netflix. I get what you're
Yeah, and I was sitting in the airport one day, and I'm downloading episodes to a show I don't even want to watch.
saying.
Like I'm not, I have no, I'm just like, I guess this is what I got. Like this is what's left. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, this is such
Yeah,
a huge
yeah.
waste of time. And I had put a couple of things on paper uh just previous to that, maybe a couple of weeks prior. And it was just kind of sitting around, and I was like, well, you know what? Maybe let's flesh this out. Let's see what I can do with this. And so I got on a plane. It was a particularly long flight. It was from Miami to Hawaii.
Okay.
And when I landed in Maui, I got off the plane and I was on chapter 4. And I was like, holy shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The way it poured out of me at that point was it was kind of thrilling.
It
Like
felt like a
you,
calling.
yeah. I really, really enjoyed it. And I just got so immersed in it. And I just realized I was like, first off, I need to plan this out. I need to actually start, putting some thought into where this is going and
Taking it serious, yeah.
what I want to explore. Yeah, exactly. And it just snowballed from there. And it became something that was, at first, it was cathartic. It was kind of like, oh, if this turns into nothing, at least I'm enjoying it. It's like a creative outlet, whatever. And then slowly over time, as I continued to finish the book, because I think did you get a book? I can't remember.
It's right here, bro. Come on now.
Hey, all
Come
right.
on now.
Yeah.
Still in the back. Come on.
Still got the
Autograph.
book back.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Autographed.
oh, that's what's up.
Hold on.
I
I'm not done yet. Hold on. I gotta let the audience know. This is awesome. Even these cards right here. All your promo stuff.
oh yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I went a little nuts with the
Oh
promo
yeah,
stuff.
you did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what drew me to it. And I had the Vitalerium sticker. Oh, yep, here it is.
Oh yeah, the holographic
Oh
sticker.
yeah. Now, I'm sorry, continue, sir.
Yeah, but I was like the book itself is not it's not a short book. Um, it reads fast because, like I said, there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of there's a lot of interesting things going on, a lot of interesting characters, but it's like it's 600 pages.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get this thing fully created. But over the course of that writing process, because the book came first, um, it suddenly became, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I just started taking every step possible to try and make that happen. And uh, basically, the whole book was written at 36,000 feet because
Yeah.
the
That's
plane
dope.
was, it just became my writing office. And I just promised myself, I kind of forced myself. I was like, if I'm on a plane, I'm going to be writing. I don't care if I'm dead tired. I don't care if there's what's going on. That's my writing space. That's what I'm going to do there.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I basically I wrote the whole book on a plane.
Okay.
So
Okay. Physical therapy, then this big this big body of work that can become a part of major pop culture. What is the transition? Like, what were your past inspirations? There had to be something nerd about you for you to even come up with something like, no, think about it, about Vitalerium. There had to be something. So what was like your back, and I see some pops back there. So what was your, you like Rick and Morty?
I got some Rick and Morty. I got some Cyberpunk. I got
Yeah.
a little bit of The Witcher.
Yeah, that cyberpunk pop looks like you.
That's it. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
Yeah.
That,
So
that
what was your like I asked you what your background was, like what was your inspiration back then? What did you nerd on back then when you were growing up? What led you to Vitalerium?
I like most people, I started with Star Wars when I was a kid. I had the trilogy on VHS, and that was one of the first things I actually used to watch with my dad. Um, and that kind of got me started in, I guess, the nerd world, as you call it. I loved sci-fi. I started. He actually gave me his copy of Frank Herbert's Dune
Oh wow.
book, and that's been flipped through quite a few times. I
Oh,
ended up buying the rest of the books in the series after that, and then in high school, the only books I was really ever drawn to were ones that had kind of a sci-fi twist or a dystopian twist to them. So, like, for instance, like I enjoyed Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. That
awesome.
was one. Is it most, a lot of people read it. That was on a lot of high school reading curriculums, I'm sure. 1984 was too. Uh,
Agnes Scott, right?
was that?
Agnes Scott, is that 1984? Or is that
Yeah.
no, or is that Orwell?
That's no, yeah, it's Orwell.
Orwell. Okay,
Orwell.
that's right.
Orwell. Um, and then Animal Farm, also Orwell wrote that as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah, that's a
That's
classic.
little novella on Stalinism, but
Yeah, that's a
kind
little
of
hard one.
kind of in a funny light.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I mean, so like that drew me to kind of some of the other classics. I started reading Isaac Asimov, which I probably is a huge inspiration of mine in terms of the sci-fi classics.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. Isaac, you said Isaac who?
Isaac Asimov. He's
Asimov.
yeah, he wrote in like the I want to say like the between like the 30s and the 50s.
Mm.
And he's the guy who actually coined the term robot
Oh wow.
the day. So he's a heavy hitter in that, like that new show on Apple TV, Foundation.
I haven't watched that yet. I watched Silo though. I need
That
to.
Silo's good,
Silo's
but
amazing.
yeah, and this one's good too. But it's different, a little different from the book. The book, the Foundation, was by Isaac Asimov.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
glad you connected that for me. So now I'm definitely gonna go watch it. Awesome.
it's yeah,
Thank you.
it's worth the watch.
That's awesome. Were you
But
done explaining? Oh,
oh yeah, well no, I was just saying like that.
oh, okay.
Excuse me. A lot of a lot of the sci-fi classics, I kind of latched onto those. And then just the pop culture stuff. I mean, just, I'm a big movie buff. I love anything sci-fi.
Name your
Um,
top five movies. Top five. You top.
uh,
If you can't name five, name three.
I'll say I really liked uh I really liked the new Dune movies
They
that
were
came.
excellent.
I love what they did with those. Because I don't know if you knew, like they made a Dune movie back in the
Back in
80s.
oh, I thought it was the 70s, but yeah, I guess it's the 80s.
Maybe it was early. I
I
don't
just know
know.
it's old. Yeah.
Who remembers? But I watched that, and it's like the CGI is hilarious.
Yeah.
The they tried to fit, they split it into two movies,
Yeah.
new one, which they needed to do just for the amount of
Information.
yeah, just the amount of content that
Yeah.
was coming from the books. I mean, they really tried to mash so much into one movie, and you ended up with all those like 80s style kind of montages to kind of just show the passage of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, props to them for trying. But
It
yeah,
broke ground.
I
It
love the
broke
new
ground.
Dune movies. Um, what else? What else have I watched recently that I really liked? Um, there was one. There was one that I watched, and it was like, oh shit, yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It's about a guy who they basically come across an unknown phenomenon. It's on Netflix, I know that. They come across an unknown phenomenon and they follow this scientist as he's basically figuring out a weapon to try and basically kill these things that are just tearing through their army. And they're basically like specters.
Okay.
And he has to reverse engineer all of the things that he finds, like all of the evidence that he finds to try and create a weapon for it. I can't for the life of me
Is
remember the name
did
of
it come out in the earlier 2000s?
it.
And it
Maybe the 20 teens.
and it doesn't have a team of people that are going back in time, does it?
No, oh, you're talking about Tenet?
Not Tenet. There was another show that came out. They were like a group of people that came together, but they had to jump time in different periods so they can keep a certain timeline going together. And they were always a team that had to go together. It was a network show. I cannot remember the name of it
Oh,
for
you're talking about Doctor Who?
no, I love Doctor Who. I know that one. The
No,
TARDIS, Doctor.
all
Oh,
right.
I
Wait.
definitely know that one. But this
All
one,
right.
but this one was like I can't. It was like they were time jumpers, and I cannot remember the name of it though. It was there was two of them. There was one on NBC, and then there was one that came out on CBS, I think. But either way, I'll figure out the name of those shows and probably text you later. But
All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But no, it's no, I can't remember the name of it. But Tenet, you funny enough,
yeah,
I really enjoyed that one. That one was really cool. And I'm usually not drawn to time travel stuff because I feel like time travel stuff can be a little overplayed. If it's
yeah.
done right, it can be good though. Like for instance, in Tenet,
Oh yeah.
and I really enjoyed that one. That one was cool. Um, Trying to think of what else. What have I seen lately? I have a whole bunch of movies on my list that I need to watch, and I just haven't had the time lately because I've been trying to turn this thing into you know, turn this
Okay,
into the next classic.
so let's go ahead and sit and talk about business as far as Vitalerium and your trajectory, right?
Yeah.
How is it going for you as far as promo and coming up with ideas to keep pushing it and getting to that like I guess that level that you're trying to be at with Vitalarium? Because it's a beautiful series. It's obviously, in my opinion, ready to like battle with the big boys. But what are you finding as blocks along this pathway towards getting to that final stage?
Uh, I mean, online marketing is always a little challenging, especially because I come from a sales background. Marketing is kind of an entirely different beast.
Yeah.
So I'm basically just learning everything from scratch.
Okay.
Um, and it's fun because that's a challenge, it's you got to figure it out. But as far as like the in-person stuff, I really enjoy that. I mean, I'm scheduled for I think almost 20 cons this year, or
Ooh.
20 cons and book fairs.
Let me
So
do your con schedule.
what's that?
Let me help you with your con schedule.
Yeah, what you got a few more I should attend?
No, no, no. I'm saying, no, no, I'm saying you have a con schedule. What I'm saying is I want to help you market. I'll help you market your stuff, like do your graphics and all that stuff for you. We'll
All right.
talk. I'm sorry for interrupting you. We'll talk. I believe in you, brother. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, but like I said, I'm going to like 20 cons. Um, and that's been fun because I get to interact with people. I get to talk a little bit about the series, which I always like doing because, other than my family and, just trying to keep the business afloat, my other business,
Yeah,
um, this is like all I think about. I'm already like halfway through book number two, and the
oh,
first one came out in October.
that's awesome.
The comic book series, the new comic, is going to be out by the end of this month.
Oh, I'm ready.
And the I have five more basically in production as we speak
That's
after
beautiful.
that.
I'm
So
excited.
I want these to come out like boom, boom, boom. Um, and I don't plan to just stay in books and comic books either.
Okay.
Uh, I have seven books planned. I'm approved for seven with my publisher.
Ooh,
That could turn into eight. Comics, I have like endless content for comics. I mean, that comic that you got is just one chapter from the book. The book is 31 chapters.
man, man, man.
I've got limitless content. I've just created the whole canon for the comic book with my illustrator and my colorist, and that's going to be, there's going to be basically the narrative that follows the protagonist through the book. There's going to be the time before the book, when he's an adult. There's going to be the time before the book when he's a teenager, kind of coming up, giving people a little bit of a background into his backstory, a little bit more character building as to what kind of formulated this hard, roughneck protagonist. Because he's a hardened dude. I mean, you read the comic, like
Yes, yes.
he's kind of a badass, and he's
He,
definitely troubled. He's got a lot of past trauma, and so we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper. I have plans for offshoot comics for each of the different major characters in the book, um, where they will be followed as well. So you get a little bit more, um, I guess, information on their backstory. Um, but I don't plan on stopping there. I mean, I want to take this into every outlet of media possible.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
my next goal is to get a short film made, a short animated film. So I'm starting to work with a couple of different people on that because I want to really,
You want to go off.
I
You
want,
want
I
to
want to go off.
you want to go off. I get it. I get it. It's there. Look, J.K. Rowling didn't write Harry Potter for nothing. I'm just serious. Like, she didn't write it for nothing. Like, this is a world you're creating, so it takes time. But I definitely want to be a part of your team in some type of way. Just throwing that out there, and obviously we'll talk after this. But I really believe in this movement because I grew up on a lot of Total Recall, Demolition Man, The Fifth Element.
Oh,
Um,
Fifth
Come
Element.
on, The Fifth Element. Come on, and
I love
your
my wife
character,
dressing up as
the lady with
Lee
the
for
suspenders.
Halloween this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And I'm trying to get my wife to go to a con with me too, and then we cosplay together. I don't know what we will be, but that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, your storyline, like I said, it's supposed to be up there with the greats. It's supposed to be, not it can get up there. It's supposed to be there. So
Thank
um,
you for saying that. That's high praise, man.
I grew up on that, man. So it's any type of sci-fi thing I want to try to help push it, and I really love the messaging because um I'm really a Earth person. I love Earth, but the fascination of space is always going to be just like dinosaurs from some people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful understanding. So this is a beautiful ride that I feel like I'm experiencing. So what's you said everything that's next. Who are you contacting to kind of like get placement for your product? Like what bookstores are you trying to get into? What comic book stores are you trying to get your comic book into? Is like what's your plan?
So as far as a plan right now, I haven't been focusing too heavily on bookstores because a lot
Okay.
of bookstores are typically looking for a track record of like big time online sales. So right now, I've been focusing on building kind of a grassroots following,
Awesome.
getting out there, talking to people, selling books, you know, making some fans, making some friends, and just trying to get the word out because
Absolutely.
what I have seen is that the online sales have steadily been going up.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
I started this contour, and that's been really helpful. At some point, I will revisit, the bookstore thing. Um, but I also plan to, after this next comic is fully published, I have printed copies. I've got a couple out. Um, I'm going to start getting some of them CGC graded. I'll have for the next round of comics, and this is for the comic one and comic two, I'll have variant covers, I'll have first edition covers, and I'll have CGC graded covers.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna really kind of, I guess, diversify the offerings a little bit while continuing to create the next episodes. I mean, I already wrote the scripts for the next like 4 or 5 comics.
Mateo, shh.
Um,
I'm sorry, my son just walked in. Mateo, you got to go back, baby boy. Because I'm having an interview. Please go back and close my door, please.
I
Just
got I got a 2-year-old man.
okay, see, my son is 5. They just run right in. They run right in. Like you can tell them, look, don't come in my room because daddy's doing something, right? Doesn't make a difference. I'm
Yeah,
still, I'm still coming in, but either way, whatever. But I'm sorry for that interruption.
yeah, it's all right, man. That's life, man. That's real.
Yes,
That's
sir.
that's what we do it all for, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
We are
hear
human
that.
sacrifices.
Yes, yes. But it's funny you mentioned you know, you're into space and stuff like that. I
Yes.
feel like half of the reason I created it, so the whole concept of the element of Vitalerium is that it actually fosters the ability to travel between planets in a way that basically negates the time difference.
Right.
Basically it's an element that creates a field that basically allows any user to be able to negate the laws of relativity.
That's awesome.
And so that was it's and part of that I feel like stems from my yearning to be
Mhm.
able to just go out there and friggin' explore space, man.
Eef,
I would
man.
I that would be so awesome just to be able to do that. And I maybe I figured it wouldn't happen in my lifetime, so I just started writing my own world where it was possible.
Well, hey, Walt Disney never got to see what he created today, so sometimes you just have to get started on it, right, and see where it goes.
Yeah, but some people think he got frozen too, so maybe
I wouldn't
one
be
day.
surprised. Just literally put in like the thing like Han Solo. Could you imagine? Oh God, that would be crazy. Yeah, yeah, carbonite. So, so, but yeah, wow. Now I gotta ask if you were to get picked up by a studio for your like short film or even a series, possibly, who would you imagine working with? Like, what streaming service or what studio would you imagine working with,
Uh,
or would be your dream to work with?
my dream, I mean, I grew up with like the big time HBO series.
Hmm.
I would love that. I think that
Oh
would be
yeah,
awesome.
Max.
To have like a series on that. But and then as far as like studios, I mean, I guess at this point, I mean, I'm not even there yet. I guess anyone that would take me. But
Well, as far as quality, I can imagine yours on Apple TV for sure.
yeah, Apple TV has been making a lot of good stuff lately.
Beautiful stuff,
Yeah.
gorgeous stuff, very particular and clean stuff.
Hmm.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Ted Lasso is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Which one?
Ted Lasso,
I still haven't watched Ted
man,
Lasso.
come on, man.
No, I'm fucking up.
That show is whew, like, and I'm so thankful for season four. A lot of people wish it had ended, but I'm just like, no, I need more. Give me more. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited about that show.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dive into that one when I get some time. I liked Severance. Did you watch that?
My wife is obsessed with that show.
That's that that it's a good one, man. That one's got a cool little sci-fi twist on it too.
And I
Um,
heard.
just the whole splitting of the consciousness kind of thing.
Yeah.
Memory split. It's a cool thing, man.
I tell you what, one series or one, excuse me, one movie that I thought was pretty cool, but it only played with time. Well, two movies. I like The Looper, and I like that movie In Time with Justin Timberlake that a lot of people like to rag on. Um, I thought In Time was a very
That one.
interesting concept.
I liked Looper though.
I love Looper. I love
Looper
that movie.
was cool. That's the one where it's funny. I actually have a similar concept in my book to that.
Yeah.
That's you know the what is it the people who have the telekinetic power.
Yes. Yes.
That's something that humanity starts exhibiting after they basically colonize this final planet, which is where the story takes place.
That's
And
awesome.
these humans get born, and they basically have these bioluminescent freckles.
Mm.
And it comes with, a lot of bad. They have a lot of health problems and things like that, but it also comes with some of them have like intermediary to, or I'd say like moderate telekinetic abilities. And one of the characters who she's an intergalactic pop star,
Mm.
and she is one of the most powerful, they call them telex. She's one of the most powerful telex basically alive, and she utilizes it in her performances
That's awesome.
in the book when she's performing.
Man.
Uh, and it all stems from uh, certain factors that are present on that planet, um, as to why. And there's it also leads to a pretty serious conflict down the road, um, that I won't give away for those who might want to dive into the book a little
Nah, yeah,
bit.
I don't want that exclusive yet because I don't want to be ruined for myself.
I would never.
So you just finished speaking about the bioluminescent freckles, right? That just made me think about your physical therapy background. How much did you use your knowledge of physical therapy to create characters or like different special powers or things that are inside of the storyline?
So I definitely use the medical background a lot in the book, and I also my wife is a surgeon, and so she's a badass, man. Um,
That
she'll,
escalated really fast. Like,
she'll be she'll be at the end of like 2 months from now, she'll be triple board certified. So
yeesh.
she's a real badass, and,
God.
and a mom too. And on top of that,
That's
and
awesome.
and and she loves all this stuff. She's big into it. She loves coming to the conventions with me. She's my first beta reader for the book. Was for this the last one is for this one, and also my toughest beta reader. Because she's not afraid to tell me when something reads like shit.
Man,
Like,
why was she fake, man? She's a superhero that keeps people alive, bro.
yeah, she doesn't have that bone in her body. So she'll tell me straight up if something is confusing or if something just straight up sucks or or what.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
but it's good. You need that. You need that good kind of feedback, and I can rely on her for that because she doesn't hold back. You need that. You don't want someone to just be like, "Oh yeah, it's good," when it's really not, because then that
Look,
doesn't help you get better.
when I first saw it, like you gotta understand, like your wife being she sharpens your blade, bro. Because you gotta understand as a person walking in and seeing you off to the corner, like you gotta understand, we're in a con. Obviously, you're inside of pop culture, but you have to stand out in order for you to get distracted from all the pops. Because you know I like pops. So all I saw was that blue back there, and I was like, whatever this guy is doing, it is professional enough, and I can already see he's working hard to do it because he's here by himself. Even if his work is maybe here, I'm not sure, but he looks like he's here by himself. So when I found out that you were the creator, I was like, okay, this is official. You have really put your feet into the ground, and this is yours. This is your project. How has that journey been of keeping yourself motivated?
You know what's crazy? I've had zero issue keeping myself motivated when it comes to this. This is despite being something that I work so hard on and dedicate so much time to. This is the one thing that is surprisingly still kind of like my escape.
Mm.
So the writing I enjoy, the comic book directing I enjoy. I think it's awesome that I now have the ability to basically bring to life a pictorial version of what's happening in the book, which was always my goal. And like I said, the next step is animation, and then we'll start talking video games and live action, and we'll we'll get there eventually. Give me a couple years on those, but
No, absolutely.
I'm working toward it. But no, I have a blast doing those cons, and I knew it's one of these weird things where like a lot of what I'm doing, I know exactly how I envision it, kind of like in the book. Like I
Hmm.
mean, that's how I write. I literally it's like I see it happening in my head, and I just go there and I try and put the reader in that front seat so that they can see exactly what I'm seeing. That's the
Right.
way I write. And I knew exactly how I wanted my booth to look. I knew exactly how I wanted uh to present the story itself. Um I knew exactly where I wanted to go with it. And it's one of those weird things where I just kind of sat down and knew like this is where I want to take this. Let's figure out how to get it done. And the challenge of getting there has been just insanely fun for me. I've met a lot of cool people, you included.
I
Uh,
appreciate it, man.
I I've tested myself a lot. I've certainly challenged myself in ways that I never thought I would, and I've just enjoyed the hell out of it.
That's
You know,
awesome.
even when it gets stressful, it's stress with a smile on my face,
Oh
man.
man.
So
But only you can do it.
what's that?
I said, but only you can do it. Only you can do it, bro. Nobody can tell your story for you. Uh, obviously, it's hard work. We get tired and stressed out, like because we believe in something, and it's just like why some of the craziest things we see pass us like faster, right? Crazy things that have made, and you're just like, why is that a thing? Why is that like, for example, skibidi toilet? Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, somehow this toilet head that pops out, I mean, this head that pops out of a toilet and sings to you is a kid's thing. They just made Funko Pops for it. It's a franchise and it works for some reason. I don't understand. So I get tired of seeing people like you have to spend so much more money and put so much more thought into it and people have to be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, but this skibidi toilet." Like you get what I'm saying? The attention span. And
That's
that's
but that's the thing, man. I'm noticing it's a tough business because the tangible stuff that's out there, the something it's fulfilling some need. If you're trying to get someone to basically, if you're trying to convince someone to say, okay, now I want your free time, because that's basically what you're doing. You're saying, okay, what could you be doing with your free time? You could be doing this, you could be doing that. I want you to be doing my thing, right? And that's a big ask. of someone, especially someone you don't know. So to try and prove yourself and build something that is worth other people's time, which is, the one resource that we have no way of replenishing, so to speak. That's not an easy sell. You can sell someone on oh, is that going to make it easier for my kids to get potty trained or something? Or is that it?
Nope.
Yeah, sure, let's get it. Is it going to solve a problem? Sure. I'm not necessarily solving any problems, and I'm certainly not pretending to, but you know, I am planning to kind of take anyone who reads this book or dives into the comic series or any of the future works on a wild ride, one that they can enjoy. Once again, that's what this is all about.
That's
It's trying,
awesome.
trying to basically it's for the fans, it's for the people. So if I can do that, then
You've accomplished your goal.
I've accomplished my goal. And even if it's at a small scale right now, it's it's just the start. And once again, it's something where if it's good, and you know,
Oh, it's
I mean,
good.
you tell me,
Oh, it's
but
good.
if it's good enough, it will begin to spread and it will begin to gain real heavy traction, and that's when the big stuff starts coming. So I like to tell myself this: when I'm deserving of it, when I've put in the effort that's required to be able to do something this cool and this fun for a living, like officially, like this is the only thing I do. This is what I built the Vitalerium universe and I continue to build it every day. I still do that now anyway. But
Absolutely.
when that is like my one and only, when I'm deserving of it, when I've put in the time and when I've kind of built it, that's that's when it'll happen.
That's what will happen.
What I was saying was I watched an interview, and I think it was Matt Damon, the actor. Um, and he talked about this concept where like there's a billion actors out in Hollywood who are all trying to make it. They're all looking for their big break. And that's just it's he basically said like it's really not the way to go about it. Like if you really want to just wait around for your chance, you're going to be waiting a long time. But if you go out there and you make something, like you flex those writing skills and you
Yep.
start putting the right people together, and maybe you make a short film or you make an indie or you do something like that, then those people that you're kind of pining to work with, suddenly they're more open to
Gonna come
working
right
with
in.
you.
Yep.
You went and you built something yourself and you went after it and you basically put it on the line, you know? Um, and so that's what, and I think it's kind of beautifully said by him. So that's kind of the way I'm trying to do it, is I'm just going all in on this.
And we have to earn longevity. We have to earn it.
That's
Really
right.
do. We really do. I don't, and there's one term that I really can't stand, and it's called gatekeeping. And I feel like that's a very entitled term because you've heard that term before, right?
Of course. I'm in
Okay,
sales. Gatekeeping is a big
exactly.
thing in
So
sales.
obviously that I guess there's different perspectives you could come at when it comes to that term, but gatekeeping to me always feels like somebody saying you should just give me your way of knowing so I can move as fast as you. Do you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I'm not really a fan of that gatekeeping in that term because that's very entitled. But
Yeah.
we're moving into a world where there's AI and there's remakes and there's no real originality. How are you gearing up Vitalarium to like shift and be untouched by the non-creatives and AI and all that type of technology?
What's funny is at least in the writing world, um, AI has been like really, especially for the purpose of writing. I found that a lot of writers have basically kind of shunned it.
Yeah,
And like if people ever found out that you had done like any of your work through AI, like had
yeah,
AI, in it, like you like the
exactly.
community would not
You'll be
basically
axed.
keep you well. You'd be axed, yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I never use any AI with my writing. I only use it for research purposes.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
I want to cut my research, because once again,
That's all
I'm
it should
not
be used for.
I'm not a physicist, right?
Right.
I'm not. I've got a medical background. I've got a wife who's a surgeon. I can bounce things off of her,
Yeah.
and so I I can hang my hat on that. But as far as the other stuff, some of the real heavy physics concepts
Yeah.
that we start dealing with in the book, I don't have the background to be able to just know that and write about it knowledgeably, right? So I had to do my research and for instance, like I use Chat GPT.
Hmm.
Chat GPT really kind of sharp, uh, I should say, yeah, sharpened my learning curve. I guess it steepened the learning curve. And basically, I was able to find out exactly what I didn't know and what I needed to look into deeper. And then I could be like, show me a paper on that.
Oh
Show me
wow.
some,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I could really deep dive into some of these things so that I could at least speak knowledgeably about them. Because
Right.
I also acknowledge that I extrapolate a lot because I'm talking about a society that's almost 700 years in the future, right?
Right.
That's a lot of time for science to evolve and
Absolutely.
for things to basically advance. So I do extrapolate it a lot, but I try and base it in current physics theory and basically show where things have, where things could possibly go. Um, and so that's the only thing I've ever used it for. But as far as AI in writing, never. It's like an absolute no.
It is.
So I haven't messed around with that at all. The as as far as other things for AI, I've used AI to create like some concept art, but I've also taken that concept art, brought it to
A
a
real
real
artist. Yeah.
designer,
Yep.
and said like, "Hey, I want something kind of like this, but change this, and then I want it more like this, and I want the colors different, and I want the change the armor pattern, and I want this to." And so I'm still, there's still I guess I'm accessing the artist network, right? I'm still putting my business out there for the artists. It's not something where I ever want to just rely on AI for it
And
because
and honestly, that's all AI should be used for, as like for a reference. Or I think we should think of AI like it's a Wikipedia, right? A quick source for us to be able to use as reference so we can use, like, because I think they had an AI that detected that this person had cancer uh before it got to a bad stage. Obviously, that's what AI should be used for, not to put people out of business, not to get everything
right.
so much easier, not to get everything so much like you can do it fast, but don't get rid of what humans are meant to do. We're meant to work, we're meant to create, we're meant to learn. So I hate that people want to give up all that, I guess, all those attributes up to a machine, and that's what's scary. But that's why I like
And
sci-fi, to be honest, at the same time. It feels like
yeah,
it's warning me or giving me a guidebook into what could happen. You get what I'm saying? I love sci-fi.
yeah, me too. And obviously.
Yeah.
But but the thing is it's so here's the conundrum though, because AI is expanding, but it's learning at such a rate, and there's gonna come a time where the things that you can do with AI are going to surpass what can be done with just our own minds. I mean, they're saying that now by I think the year 2020, I want to say 2029, that essentially AI is going there are going to be AIs that are smarter than every human on Earth combined.
Oh my gosh.
Now here's the thing. I think it all comes down to how we train it, how we utilize it, and how we decide to basically implement this in our lives. Do we want something that just does everything for us, or just because I'll tell you what, like I'm also big into philosophy, and I know that there is purpose that can be found through struggle and through learning and through, you know, overcoming challenges and things like that. And that purpose, it's integral to basically, maintaining a healthy lifestyle and, preventing people from spiraling into just total depression. I mean, if you don't have a purpose, I mean, what you're just basically wandering around aimlessly.
And I love what you're saying, but to be honest with you, I've almost have no like because okay, if it was up to pretty much most basic human beings, I feel like AI would be used for something as a more of a helpful source, right? But as we've seen in iRobot, in Wall-E, in Total Recall, in Equilibrium, in all those type of sci-fi films, people are not, in my opinion, going to use it for the right thing. Or even we were taught way back with Terminator and Skynet. Like we were taught. So I don't have any faith in human beings to take something that could be used as an advancement and use it just for advancing and giving people love, like actual help, or just using it for power. That's the
That
scary thing about AI for me.
Well, using it for power, that's definitely something that is should be seen as a threat. And I see, I don't see the threat of AI becoming like, you know, Skynet sort of thing in Terminator. I see it as more of like an eroding of society to the point where, like you said before, like where we become almost useless. And when you have a
That's
lot of people who feel that way, that doesn't that typically doesn't turn out well for any type of society.
exactly, exactly.
When a lot of people feel left behind and without purpose. Um, that is where I fear it's more of a Skynet is a good analogy, but I feel like the actual implementation of AI to basically, to the potential for AI to destroy humanity is more subtle, um, which is scarier because it happens over time. But
Exactly.
what I will say is that we've certainly overcome a lot as a species. We've been able to learn with. I mean, just think about the internet in general. I mean, we've only had that for a while, and I mean, look at how bad social media is just in general for like people's
Exactly.
mind frame and
Exactly.
mental health and things like that. Um, but we're starting to learn, and it's interesting. Um, I forget what the name of the theory is. Did you ever hear of this theory that there's like a that like lessons and not not necessarily memories, so to speak, but like certain lessons that are learned are actually passed down genetically.
Yes.
Like generationally, we learn almost like herd learning
Yeah.
kind of the kind of concept. I'm wondering if there's anything like that that actually contributes to us like overcoming the changes in our society over time especially as we progress through something like this. And
Well, we
AI progressing more rapidly than anything else.
and
So
anything, and because they have people like my wife actually got a notification or email one time of they were offering her a job of like $35 an hour just to sit there and talk and teach AI. And when she was going to take it, I was like, babe, you can't take that, please. Like, don't give AI your brain. So I feel like I'm anti-AI because I am also a graphic designer and just photographer. And I don't need that threat because it does move fast, but it's not real. But the way how lazy people are getting very self-consciously lazy. So they'll just accept it. It's cheaper and they drive up prices, but people look for the cheaper option. And the cheaper option is AI because it's faster and sometimes it's free. So that's what I'm saying. Like then our market just starts to dwindle and dwindle. People stop buying books, people stop buying comics, people stop buying pops, and that's people stop buying art in general because they can get it fast. And that is something that humans are known for is destroying their own resources. So that is the only thing I'm scared of. I love sci-fi, but I feel like it's always a warning, and that's probably why I do like it. If
You well, that's the benefit in sci-fi. There's value in it, and specifically value in that, it the idea of every utopia is really a dystopia, right?
yes,
So the dystopian um the exploration of different dystopias is a good thing, and it's a valuable thing in sci-fi because it basically it tries to follow a concept and push that out to see what it could possibly become, and basically search out any pitfalls for humanity. What are the ways that we could fuck it all up?
I know.
There's something really there is a lot of value in that, and
That's
that's
funny.
what that's why they put 1984 um in high school curriculum. That's
Yeah,
why but they don't tell you that. They don't.
yeah.
I really wish that some of my teachers had really focused more on why it's so important and what some of the things like some of the things that we're exploring, why are we exploring them? Because we want to make sure that that is not the way society does go, that we learn from the mistakes in the book so that we don't make them in real life. And that's one of the things that I wanted to explore. And I wanted to explore, some of the in my book particularly, I certainly wanted to explore some of the treachery and subterfuge and media manipulation that um, has occurred and does occur still, and really look into what's going on behind the scenes, what is causing them to do that. So I'll take characters, for instance, like I told you, there's a lot of political intrigue. I follow a few politicians in the book, and you get to see not only the face that they put on when they're talking to the public,
Hmm.
but the real designs that they have in the backroom meetings. So you get to see how one equals the other and where they got to that point. Um, and I feel like that's important because people today I feel like take a lot of things for granted. They're just
Absolutely.
there's not a whole lot of, oh, let me go check and see if that's right,
Right.
even though we have it literally
Right in our hand, right in
right in
our
our
pocket.
pocket. Um, it's almost like it's like prevalence breeds indifference, right? So um, yeah, I wanted to explore that a little bit because I thought it was relevant, to today's time. Um, I mean that's just one of many things I talk about in the book, but um, I kind of went off on a tangent. I
No,
forgot
no,
how.
no, no. That's it's not really it still connects to what we were talking about with AI and humanity destroying itself, everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, I think it's something that, you know, anytime you prohibit something, it's always going to create either a black market for something
Yeah.
or abuse of something.
Yeah.
Um, with anything, look at the alcohol prohibition. Look what that turned into. That's
Everything. Yeah.
all the organized crime and everything else. Um, yeah, so I don't think just saying no to AI is like the end all be all. I think we need to learn what we should use it for, what we could use it for, because there are a lot of things. I mean, think about the complexity of trying to just map out traveling from one planet to another.
Right. Right.
That's not something you're gonna, even the smartest physicists, astronauts, what have you, are gonna want to do with pen and paper, right?
Right.
that's something where you're going to need to maybe utilize AI for help. And that's where, so in the book, I basically describe I describe it like this. The ability for us to basically expand our reaches and break free of the finite resources of planet Earth basically gave us the opportunity to become the gods we always strive to be,
That's a good.
right?
Yeah.
Because now we can go anywhere, we can do anything, we can colonize new planets, we can do this, we can do that. And so AI suddenly became more of a helper to basically help us achieve the common goals that we had as a species. And doing some of the complex things to make them more prevalent, more readily available. So I talk about how like um off-planet mining operations suddenly became not just, easy but frequent, because we had the ability to do it. We had the AI, we honed it for that, and we were suddenly, we were up to our knees in all the resources that we could possibly want. And now we can build all the spaceships that we want to go from this planet to that planet. We could, which brings about, the opportunity for more resources. And it was like kind of like a golden age of space travel that the discovery of Vitalerium brought about. And that's why in my book I don't necessarily talk about AI a whole lot, because it's almost like I'm trying to present it almost as like a problem that we had solved, that we had
Mm,
solved,
I like that.
like a tool, and or a
No, that
an
makes plenty of sense. A tool. You turned it into a tool. Yeah.
yeah, or
Yeah.
even an entity. I
Yeah.
mean these things. I mean, if they're getting exponentially smarter by the day, then at some point it's going to become some kind of entity. It's learning to basically coexist and live and work together with it in a way that basically allows for the expansion of the human race.
Agreed.
So I don't feel like it's something that, needs to be. I'm always a little skeptical of like over-regulation of something, because then I know that, the folks in power who are
I see
over-regulating
what you're
it are
saying.
typically benefiting the most from it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
utilizing it the most. And so that's one thing that I err on the side of caution of. But, also making sure that we're not just, you know,
Going
actually
crazy. Yeah.
actually creating Skynet. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
like it's just finding the balance, which is another huge. It's probably, if I were to say that there was one theme that was like the cornerstone of the entire series, it's balance.
Balance.
It's balance.
Balance.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
little yin and yang.
Little yin and yang. All right, man. I don't want to hold you up all night, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you one last question.
Yeah,
What is your finalized goal for Vitalarium that you feel like you have that you feel like you could achieve and you will achieve to where you know you have hit that milestone, that final milestone? Because I mean, we always wanted to hit something. Things always change, but what is something that you know you will hit to let you know that you've made it and you've built something as successful as what you're doing right now and working so hard to create?
that's a good one, man. Um, it's a long shot, and it's a lofty goal for sure. But I, at some point in this journey, want to be sitting in a movie theater for the premiere
Hey,
of a feature-length film that I directed.
holding Vitalarium popcorn buckets.
That's a good idea.
Yes, sir. No, I'm serious, bro. I'm all for seeing a pop of Vitalarium one day, a whole series. I'm all for seeing some McFarlane action figures or just some action figures in general because I've seen so many, like you remind me of a few of them. And I know somebody named Skybound is probably going to come for you one day. They're the people who help market Invincible, if you've ever heard of that show.
Oh yeah,
Invincible? Yeah.
yeah.
Invincible. And also there's another series called Radiant Black by the Massive Studios. It's another studio that I just found out about. It's a
I've heard of Radiant Black, but I've never.
man,
Yeah,
bro. You
yeah.
Vitalerium and Radiant Black, if they cross paths one day, I think my mind will be blown up somewhere on a sidewalk. So I can't wait to see what Vitalarium brings in the future. I believe in it. Whatever way I can help push the message of Vitalarium, I will definitely do. So um I'm excited, man. I really appreciate this interview very much.
Well, I mean, you're doing a lot just having me on, and
Thank you.
I really appreciate it again. Yeah, I guess if anyone wants to check it out, it's the first book is Vitalerium: Descent into the Void. It's available on Amazon,
Yeah,
BarnesandNoble.com, basically anywhere you get your books. Um, you can get the comic books on vitaleriumseries.com. It's my website. It's also where you can get any merch and the limited edition stuff. That's all available on my website. And then, you can follow me on social. I'm on Vitalerium Series on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all of it. It's all that stuff.
well, right now you're my sci-fi Stan Lee, so I'm your fan. I'm a fan of Vitalarium. No, I'm serious. Because in the collectible world, we have Mike Becker, who's the creator of Funko, Brian Mariotti, who ended up buying Funko later and creating Funko Pops. Um, and then he has his own company called Thrill Joy now, Brian Becker. Mike Becker left his own company, Funko, and has a new company called Funmaker Inc. And he created this little side brand called Rokimoto. So I love seeing the creators now while they're young and still thriving because I never got to meet Stan Lee. I never got to meet Walt Disney, you know? And those people created some of the biggest franchises on this earth. I never got to meet George Lucas. Come on, man. Like, I want to meet Steven Spielberg before he passes, you know?
That's
So,
George Lucas is still around. That's still a possibility.
yeah, you're right. You're right. He's still alive, but who knows how much longer, you know? Like, it's people leave fast now. So, I'm just, I got to give people their flowers while they're here and while they're still on that come up. So, Uh, I believe in Vitalarium. I think it's one of the coolest series I've seen, and I've seen a lot of sci-fi, bro, like plenty. And yours still stands out to me. So, um, I'm your Vitalarium champion.
Well, I'll tell you what, I
Yeah,
got when the next comic book comes out, I got an issue for you.
man. Look, I will not deny it. Okay,
That's I'll
I
ship
never
it to
ask for anything from you, but I'm just saying in general, whatever you send, I will not deny it.
you. You
I
have to
appreciate
ask. I'm offering.
it. I appreciate that, man. I
You
really
got it.
do. So again, I appreciate this interview. I would like to do something later on with you for sure, like even after this video. Um, I pray for your business to flourish, dude. And I really, like I said, I appreciated your time.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right,
Same to you.
man. You have a wonderful night, and I will keep you updated on when this episode is posted for sure.
Perfect.
Awesome. Have a good night.
Hey, you too, buddy. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.